Hey, it's Sue Greenwald here with Awakened Stories. I'm here today with Deanna Carr. Hey, Dee, how are you?
Oh, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So, Deanna has a website called the mystical underscore moonlight. I screw it up every time. And she does readings and she's extremely psychic. We've been doing some fun little interviews and talks about various mystical creatures and just fun things. So, if you listen to this and you have questions, put them in the comments below, or if you have ideas for future videos as well, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So today's topic is unicorns.
Yes. We've
Yeah,
been requested to talk about unicorns.
yeah, yeah. So are unicorns real? Is the big first question.
Yes, they are real.
Okay. And
And they are.
all right, so we're going to talk about our district only of Earth. Okay. We know
Okay.
that Earth is bigger than we know. So we're going to just talk about the continents that we're aware of. Are there unicorns currently physically alive in our district?
Yes.
There are.
Now, there are unicorns alive in our district. They are more of on hidden terms. There are places where they are known, but we do not see them. Meaning, the average person, there are cultures that are still in our district that do have some mythical creatures that they do keep hidden from outside viewers. So there are a few in those like areas. And then, so that's just talking about our district.
Woo. And then there are some in other districts as well.
Yes.
Okay.
And
And okay. Are all unicorns white?
no.
Okay, because that's whenever we see a depiction of a unicorn, they're always this beautiful glowing white and flowing mane. They look like a beautiful horse. And
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if there were different colors, and we'll call it different breeds or species of unicorns.
Yeah, there are different breeds and species, just like every horse. They're kind of a mixture
Yeah.
of what we know. So like the closest thing that would be the relative would be the horse itself. So just think there isn't just one color of a horse. There's many of them.
Right.
Same thing with unicorns. I think the reason they depict it as white is because white usually represents like heavenly. Also, when you look at, culture for like movies and everything, they tend to use white horses because they think that they look, prettier. It's harder to maintain that white uh, fur versus darker fur. So there's other reasons they use white as a representation for unicorns.
Okay. So we do have unicorns currently alive physically in this district.
Yes.
And they're basically like, we'll call it in hiding in certain cultures. So
Mhm.
ca- can you give us any more there? Or we don't want to like give their location because we don't want people tracking them.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't give out any more than that.
Okay, okay. Um, did unicorns originate on Earth? Like, did they evolve? Were they created, or are they from another planet?
They're from another planet. They came here for refuge. Their planet was destroyed. I don't know specifically how they got here. I do see a rainbow road. We talk about rainbows often when we talk about unicorns, but when I see unicorns, it's the way that they've accessed how to come to this planet. And a rainbow road is, the access point.
Wow, like a rainbow road through space.
Yeah, so think about it like in Thor, the movie, when the guy has that big key, he turns it and they have this long, road that goes to whatever
Yeah.
space time continuum they're going to. It's pretty much the same thing. So or even like Mario Kart, the Rainbow Road in the
Yeah.
galaxy, that's pretty much it. It's not necessarily a rainbow itself, it's fraction of light, creating that dimensional portal for those uniforms to
Cool.
transfer.
Super cool. So, what are unicorns' abilities? Like, since they came from another planet and they knew enough to come across the bridge, I assume that they've got quite a bit of intelligence.
Yes.
So do they have like telepathy? Do they have magical powers? Like, can you kind of,
They
yeah,
they have telepathy.
yeah,
They also, I mean, they are able to fly. Over time, they had to keep some of the powers hidden. That's also why they went to hiding, because it is harder to feel like yourself when you're hiding. So, having a flying unicorn, people were like, "Ooh, I want one." So then that put a target on their back. Most were killed off. So they have a range of abilities, but most of it is, the teleportation, um, communication. Um, they were also very empathetic and they're very good with healing. So they could also, like, feel the emotions of others around them. So that was another thing that kind of pushed them off, was they could feel everything like kind of dying, and then you don't like that turmoil. So they did try to find a space where they were able to heal and bring in energy and light and love.
right. Okay.
Mhm.
So, what you're saying is on their planet, the planet was either under attack or dying. And so that's
Yes.
why they came here because it was more peaceful. So they came here a long time ago, I assume?
Yes. Yes. They've been here for a very long time.
Okay. Do they have or use technology in any way?
They use bits of technology, but it's more on the energetic level versus, what we think of technology. They're not using anything high tech. It's just, the basics, how to survive, and then how to heal and progress in that sense.
Okay.
So they're more low key, but they do have technology.
Okay. So what you're saying is that they can all fly?
Most of them, yeah.
Do they have
There's very few that can't.
do they have physical wings?
Um, Over time it's changed. They don't necessarily need wings.
Oh,
So they originally had wings. It was kind of like the basic form. You think, okay, to fly, wings or some sort of way to keep you afloat. But within time, they were able to transform themselves to fly without wings.
oh, cool. Okay.
Mhm.
Are they able to talk telepathically to
Yes,
humans? Okay. And
chosen human.
okay. And other creatures, I assume.
Yeah, creatures, they usually talk to all of them. I mean, unless they feel there's a really negative connection between them, they won't talk. But for the most part, they like to communicate with others. They like to bring in, like I said, that healing energy. So the best way to do it is to see what's going on and how to assess the situation.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so they were being killed off by humans because we wanted their powers that we thought they were like, we'll call it magic, and we wanted their abilities.
Yeah, so they did. So we wanted their abilities. We found them very interesting, just like, most beings here. Um, so that was one of their downfalls, was we found them attractive. The other part was just like, like rhinos, they sought the horns out because they thought they would get some sort of either ability from it, or there would be something that they would gain from it. So they would go for those unicorn horns. Now, unicorns are, there's a lot of different, myths going about that. Um, Most think that it would be positive to actually harm the unicorns, because they would get, the mystical powers, they would get the teleportation. The horn would give them something to gain as themselves. They would become these mythical creatures in as themselves. Um, but it's completely opposite. If you harmed or hurt the unicorn, you were actually like put into a curse. So you would actually be harmed from giving them harm. They were protected through, the magic that they had. So a good representation of that is, Harry Potter. When he goes and he drinks the unicorn blood, thinking that he'll get the power, there's actually a repercussion for his action. So even though people were killing them off, they were getting repercussions. It just took a while for everything to add up because they had a lot of unicorns at the time.
Okay, so they didn't realize it, and it took them a while to realize it. And that's
Mhm.
also just depicted that way in that Merlin show. In one
Mhm.
show, King Arthur kills the unicorn, takes the horn, and then the land becomes barren, like the water dries up, all this
Yeah,
stuff happens, and then they don't realize it, and they don't understand it was a mystical creature, it was important. And then once he has true and honest regret, the land goes back to normal. So,
yeah. There's always a repercussion for it. It's some sort, like I call it, some sort of curse. Something happens to that person
right.
for taking that life. Because they were mythical, they were magical. So there was something that would happen to them. It just
Okay.
took some time.
So they were out in the open, and then they were hunted down, then they went into hiding pretty much.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, most honestly, if you look into most mythical creatures that we know of, they have gone into hiding mostly because of humans, either being killed off, researched, or something.
Right.
We can't really handle it. Our most people are very small-minded. So when they think of, this being that has these extra powers, it's either how can I use that or how can I take that?
Right. Right. So how do they feel toward humans? Do they um dislike us?
Well, some of them are working with humans. They can kind of differentiate, the energy you put off. So that's kind of how they tell if they like you or not.
Mm.
They can choose to communicate with you. I'm sure people still have, some sort of telepathic communication, either through guided readings, meditations. They just don't know it's actually a real being that's, here somewhere.
Mm.
So they are communicating with us in some way, shape, or form. They are just, weary because they don't want history to repeat itself. So that's why they keep to themselves and secluded.
Right. So way back when they were out in the open, were they ever like pets? Were they companions, or were they just independent?
They're independent. They weren't considered pets because they, could do what they wanted if they chose to be with somebody.
Yeah.
Um, a good way to think, cat. The cat's gonna come into the house when they want. They're gonna eat. So they'll be with you a little bit, and then they're gonna go off and do their own thing. So they are more of a companion versus just a pet, where they're just gonna abide by your every rule and that kind of
Right.
thing.
Right. Okay. So do you see a time in the future that they'll be coming back to, our reality in the physical format, walking around and hanging out with us?
Yes, yes, I do see that, but we have to be worthy of it. And right now, we're not worthy.
Right.
So until that time comes, they will stay in hiding. Like I said, some people may be working with their energies, and have that kind of communication through them. But for the most part, we will not see them in the physical until, we're at the right time frame.
Right. Okay. So, you talked about a rhino, and there are, we'll call it books, movies, and rumors about unicorns basically having a spell put on them and being, uh, we'll call it converted or turned into a rhino. What's your thought about that?
They're more like cousins. They're not necessarily the unicorn being transformed into a rhino. They're, like I said, they're more like cousins. They have the same attributes. That's why their horns are sought after. They're just rhinos aren't on the mythical plane. So that's why you consider them more of cousins versus,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
siblings.
And of course, rhinos are also being hunted for their horn or whatever, but they're
Yeah.
almost, many of them are going extinct, which is Horrible.
They, I think it's the black rhino that is completely extinct right now, unfortunately. Humans as normal have destroyed. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't understand why. I mean, I've seen pieces in the museums where they've taken the rhinoceros horn and transformed it into a cup and, used it for artwork, which is, why did you have to kill off a rhino to get that?
Yeah.
So, people do it for dumb reasons. We're very greedy. And what's the word? What's the word? It's when you like, materialistic.
Yeah. And short-sighted, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's not everybody, but for the most part, the ones that have, destroyed this world are very short-sighted, materialistic, greedy, all the negative attributes of humans.
Right. Right. Um, okay. Anything else we should talk about with unicorns? We often see them with rainbow and pink and, sparkles and all that. And of
Yeah.
course, everyone loves them.
Yeah. They don't poop rainbows, just so you know. But no, they're very magical, and they're very transformative. So, hopefully in our lifetime they'll come back. But like I said, once we get to the right time frame, they will. It's just we have to be worthy of them.
Yeah.
Just like most of those mythical creatures, are we actually worthy to be in their company, to understand what they are? And for most of it, it's just a download of information, but actually being there and seeing it is a completely different transformative process. So hopefully we will be able to.
Yeah. Well, Smarty says that his daughters will have a unicorn and that he'll
Yeah.
be bringing them all back. And of course, not everyone will be able to, touch them or whatever, but it's going to
Mhm.
be very exciting to see them. And
Yeah.
yeah. Now,
I
were
mean, there
they?
are people that are working with them on a different plane. So,
Yeah.
like, they could be in the space, but others wouldn't be able to see it. They can work
Yeah.
in different planes. But on this physical plane, in, a physical form, we're not ready for.
Okay.
And like I said, they wouldn't be considered full-on pets. It would be more of a relationship. And kids are usually more open, and they'd probably be the first ones to have that communication with
Yeah.
these unicorns
Yeah.
because they're so empathetic, they're open, and they are innocent.
Yes.
So having that, the unicorn always feels a little more comfortable and safe versus an adult, which you never know what adult's gonna do. So
Yeah.
that's where they'd feel more comfortable with that.
So can a unicorn live a very long time? Or
Yes.
yeah, so like a very long lifespan in general.
Like thousands and thousands of years.
Okay.
If they're healthy, if they have, what they need to survive, yes, they could live a very long life.
Cool. That's what I suspected. Now, are there other animals or creatures, whatever you want to call them, that came over this rainbow bridge or road with the unicorns, or that they're still in communication with?
There's other creatures that did cross the bridge, but I don't see it being the same time frame. Now, on this planet that they're from, I do see other beings coming out of it, and they crossed over the Rainbow Road, but I don't see them coming to Earth. It looks like they had a different destination.
Okay.
Um, I guess that's part of it is the Rainbow Road. You don't really know where your output will be.
Oh,
So it's kind of like it's not a guess and check, but it's something that you have to put, energy into. And when you're fleeing, you're not really thinking about it. So
yeah.
they did escape, but I see them escaping separately
Uh-huh.
and to a different planet. So that their goal was a little bit different than the unicorns at the time.
Was the unicorn planet blown up? Like, was there a war or something?
I see fire and destruction. I'm seeing they want to say world eater. And this has been something that's been through many universes and it's very destructive. I don't know specifically what it is, but all I see is chaos, darkness, and destruction. And it works from the inside out. So it's kind of like it started to collapse within itself. So there is, flecks of seeing the chaos throughout the world. And then it just kind of imploded. Most of the creatures were able to get out, but like I said, some of them went on to different planes.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Is there anything else that you're getting that we should know about unicorns?
I don't know. That's all I'm getting. That's like super important. I guess if people have questions that I didn't answer,
Yeah.
um, it is hard because, when you can get information, you just think everybody knows it. So I don't know what people want to know or what people don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
So if there's anything people want to know or have questions about, please ask because
right.
maybe there's something I'm missing, or
Yeah.
maybe there's something I haven't downloaded yet. So,
Well, good point, because when we know something, we just assume everyone else knows it. Or that,
yes.
you know what I mean? Or that they believe what we're saying or whatever. So
Mhm.
good. Well, thank you so much for telling us about this. And for those of you that want to know more about Deanna, I'll put her website link in the description box. Deanna does do private readings, and she does readings and things on her website as well. And she has, you're starting up new courses, and so it'll just be fun.
Selling courses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I have a lot going on. And this month, I'm thinking about doing a free reading. So if you just follow, I'll put details up about that later. So somebody can run a free reading with me or
Cool.
healing, your
Cool.
choice.
I wouldn't mind that myself.
Right. Look at my mom, you'll get it for free.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, Deanna, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.